What's up, YouTube? So this is gonna be a quick video. So I've been seeing this a lot on social media. Now, this is based on my opinion. I'm not saying that these are facts. People have the freedom to think or say or perceive themselves however they want. It is what it is. We got freedom of speech. But the thing that bothers me in social media that I've been seeing lately is that people like to overuse the term autistic or on the spectrum, right? So I've been seeing a lot of people that like to call themselves autistic, or they like to use the word autistic, and even on Twitter, like people are saying signs you're autistic and stuff like that, but not in a negative way, but more so in a, like, they'll say things like, okay, signs you're autistic. It's hard for you to lie. You have a sense of justice. You hate being perceived. Um, you experience a lot of burnout. Just stuff like that, right? In my opinion, how I view it is that people like to, and people are calling themselves autistic, and people are like taking pride in claiming that they are autistic, or like they have a lot of signs that they are autistic, right? Now, how I view it is that I don't know the true definition of autistic, but before I've seen all this shit, I used to think autistic means you're mentally disabled, right? You're mentally disabled, so you can't function in society, right? That's what I'm assuming autistic means. But it's just kind of strange to me how people like to overuse that word, and they like to take pride in calling themselves autistic. And in my opinion, this is my opinion. These people are fucking stupid, and it's kind of disrespectful in a way too, because you're pretty much, because one, these people that are calling themselves that, one, they could function properly in society. They're not missing an arm, they're not missing a leg. They could clearly think properly. These people who say shit like that, they have degrees, they know how to write, they know how to type. And yet they call themselves autistic. I get it, like they could have a lot of symptoms that they're autistic and they can't function in society like that, which is fine, because how I view it is that, like, a lot of other people, human beings, we also can't function in society. We also experience burnout. We also experience being drained and tired. We also experience not being perceived. Have you ever heard the word called shyness and stuff like that? A lot of people have anxiety. The same things that people like to brag themselves about when they like to call themselves autistic, a lot of people have the same traits. They just don't express it, or they express in different ways. Now, I understand some human beings are more sensitive compared to other human beings. Some people are more hypervigilant. They get overstimulated by lighting, by electronics, stuff like that, by society, by the workforce, which is fine. I'm like that too. But it's just kind of strange and annoying to me how, like, they like to call themselves autistic. They're like bragging that they like being a retard, pretty much. They like to brag that they can't function in society because they don't have the willpower to fix themselves, pretty much. And no, I have nothing against autistic people, and I'm not saying autistic means retarded. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that people, it seems like people are perceiving themselves in that way, because, or they're finding an excuse for them on why they're lazy and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They could very well have the traits as an autistic person, but just, but the fact that they could talk, write, and speak and navigate doesn't make them autistic, in my opinion. It just means they're lazy, and that they're just very sensitive to certain things in life. They're very sensitive to, let's say, people, energy, electricity. They're very spiritual, just shit like that. That's pretty much what it is. So it's annoying how, like, a lot of, because most human beings are followers, so like they're just spreading the word, like they're bragging about them being autistic, and then being on the spectrum. It's just annoying, in my opinion. It really is annoying. It's, instead of calling yourselves that, just say you're very sensitive. That's it. We're all sensitive in our own different ways. You know, it's just kind of weird how, like, I mean, they probably call themselves that so they could get certain benefits from the government or from society, which is fine. Then that makes sense in a way, because society has labels. We all know that. So if they're bragging that they're autistic or they have autism or some parts of it, then that pretty much want to say that so they don't have to. So they have certain benefits in society, which is nothing wrong with that. That's smart, but it's just kind of weird how, like, people are just, it just seems like they're just bragging, calling, they're just bragging about it. They're calling themselves that. It's just weird, in my opinion. I never really understood that. Um, it's no different than saying, um, I'm mentally disabled. I'm mentally disabled. I'm mentally disabled. I mentally can't function properly in society. It's kind of no different than saying that in my opinion. But I get where they're coming from. But because we're in a social media age and people like to label a lot of stuff. It's easy to label a lot of stuff because we're in a different timeline. People have different mindsets. We have a newer generation. That's probably why. So I'm not really judging, but I'm more so speaking off of my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. We all have freedom of speech and shit like that. So that's how I view it. And it's just another social media thing, but and we all use terms. We all brag. We all use different mainstream words in different ways. I probably use a lot that I'm not aware of other people. So I'm not even complaining, but I'm just speaking on how I view it. It's just kind of annoying. But that's all I got to say. Have a good one. Peace.